G'day everybody, happy tour day. Um, Definitely the biggest rock release for a really long time. So let's do a review. Fear Inoculum, 10 tracks, 86 minutes, 7 tracks and 79 minutes for the album, the physical copy. Let's get stuck into it. So the opening track is a single, Fear Inoculum. Now, when this first came out, my opinion of it was going to depend on how it sat into the album, because it was a long track and it did have cool, interesting parts to it, but it never went anywhere, it never paid off, and it never really gave you that resolve at the end that you were looking for. Now, being the opening track, that did make sense, because it does feel like the opening scene to a movie in the first act of a play. You know, it really does set up all the musical little nuances and tricks and motifs that you will come to hear throughout the rest of this thing. Now, if you listen to Fear Inoculum and you thought, yeah, it's alright, but I would have liked that big kick-ass thing at the end, then this is definitely a good album to check out, because you do get that at the end. I mean, these are long songs. You know, all the tracks are over 10 minutes, apart from the little lead-in tracks going into. But they do pay things off at the end. And, you know, Fear Inoculum is actually a really good opener. It's a ballsy opener, given that it doesn't pay off. But, you know, anywhere else in the track, in the album, this would have dragged. So that's a good one. Now, the next track is Pneuma. Now, this is actually probably my favourite track of the whole album. Again, so let's start off with a bass riff that does become the motif for the song. Builds into a vocal line, then pulls back into that bass track, builds into the vocal line, then you've got the guitars doing that vocal track, and you're slowly building it up, and you get your big payoff at the end. I love that. Now, well, as my track listing here on the side goes onto a black screensaver mode. One of the criticisms, though, I've got is they do use the mix as an instrument, so depending on who takes the lead, whether it's the bass or the guitar for that riff part, or the vocals when the vocals are just at the front of the when the band is playing quietly, they will be right at the front of the mix. And then once the full band kicks in, whatever part was at the front gets pulled back, and it does make it feel very anticlimactic. Just from a mix point of view, live this is going to kill, but on record and listening to it through headphones and, you know, on speakers, it really does stick out, and I'm not sure that's the best decision, but again, that's purely to taste. Now, the other songs throughout the middle here, we've got Invincible, Descending, Culling Voices. These are all very good tracks, but there is a formula here, which is, you know, instrumental part, vocal part, instrumental part, vocal part, instrumental part, vocal part, payoff at the end. Now, did the songs need to be, you know, 12, 13 and 10 minutes long? Could have been 8 and had the same effect, I think. Having said that, I think the idea is for you to get lost in the music and lost in that trance and just get that kind of thing happening. If that's your thing, then cool. You're going to love it. If that's not your thing, probably not going to be your thing. Because I think, you know, these long songs are cool, but when there is an obvious pattern and a formula going on, then it gets a bit predictable. And I think for, you know, an hour and a half album, I'm not sure you want predictable. I think you want a little bit of a variety. Like, I mean, we did physical graffiti for an upcoming episode going on, and, you know, that was an 82-minute album, and that's the complete opposite of this. That, you know, gives you the full range of journeys going through, and you can't quite predict where it's going next for the first time you've heard physical graffiti. Whereas with this one, I can kind of feel like, you know, if you know Tool and you sort of know their style of songwriting, you can predict where everything is going for these, you know, tracks in the middle outside of the first track and the last two. Which I'll get to now. Chocolate Chip Trip is basically a 4.5 minute drum solo. Nice work, Danny Carey's a man. The last track, Tempest, or Seven Tempest, however you pronounce that thing. Really good track, you know, much more guitar driven than the rest. I think Adam Jones really, I don't want to say he stepped it up because he's awesome, but this is really his track. Really comes through nicely and is a really good way to finish off the track. But again, does it need to be 16 minutes? Fuck, I don't know. But, you know, whatever the end result is, you know, I thought it came out well. Which raises all these dumb questions like, you know, when is a track done? I don't fucking know. Sorry if I'm rambling. It's fucking 2:30 a.m. I stayed up till midnight to listen to this thing and it went for 90 minutes. So, the highlight tracks for me are Pneuma and Seven Tempest and Chocolate Chip Trip. Overall, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I think overall this is worth a listen. It's very good. But the one thing that I'm curious about is what do people think? You know, whether you're a hardcore Tool fan or you're a passing by fan, or is somebody who goes, yeah, Tool are alright, and then the social media thing got a hold of you and you went, oh yeah, fucking Tool came out. I'm interested to hear what everybody thinks of this album because, I mean, who am I? Fucking nobody. A guy reviewing Tool rather than writing all this fucking shit. Fuck. You know, I was a whole huge Tool fan for a long time, and you know, I actually didn't think this album would come out, to be honest with you, and that kind of feeling of, you know, not knowing if this thing came out kind of made me a little, I don't know, I wasn't as excited for this thing as, you know, some people were. I think I'd sort of given up on it. And, you know, I've seen Tool 3 times now, live, and, you know, I'm hoping to see him again, you know, because I'm hoping they'll tour on this one, because a lot of these tracks will kill live, you know, because they won't have that stupid fucking fading thing going on. What I am also curious about is where this album sits in a year, you know. Because right now, I'm sure all the hardcore Tool people are like, fucking, but, you know, in 6 months, in a year and a half, they're just going to go back and put on Enema or Lateralus or whatever. I don't know, because I don't know how often people are going to go back to this. Right now, I actually like it. It's very good, but yeah, it's curious. You know, it's definitely a ballsy release from Tool, and I'm glad they did it, and I wouldn't have expected anything less from them. Anyways, it's 2:30 in the morning now. I stayed up till midnight so I could hear this thing, and I should go to bed. So whenever you're listening to this, check it out. Please let me know what you think of the album, and drink up and rock on.